So after Colin left, I decided to gather all the actors with a different idea.
So who here is into Colin?
Into Colin?
Into him how?
Can you define what that means?
When I say into, I mean you find him cute or are attracted to him.
I mean, I think he's kind of charming.
Okay, raise your hand and keep it up if you're into him.
He's kind of cute.
Raise your hand. You? Okay. Okay. So hands, 1, 2, 3. Here. Okay. The rest of you guys can leave. So what do you guys like the most about Colin?
He seems like the kind of guy where, like, once you get to know him, he's probably funny.
Yeah.
But
He's a little
can't say that yet. I mean, I could be wrong, but
He was just really sweet, and yeah, he seems to go do a lot of adventures and things like that, and that's.
You know, I'm not so much attracted to men physically, it's more intellectually.
He's smart. I mean,
I
Colin's
know,
really
and I like,
smart.
that's what I like. To me, that's what turns me on.
You're turned on by his
I'm
intelligence.
turned on by the intelligence. Like when I was a little kid, Einstein was a guy I thought was so sexy.
Einstein.
Einstein, yes.
Really?
Yeah, and I read his story and everything. I was like, oh yeah, this is the kind of man I would have loved.
Einstein.
And he had a baby when he was real young. Did you know that?
no.
I don't know. You know, just when you have I don't want to say that, but
What?
a wet dream, but you know.
A wet dream? You had a wet dream about Einstein?
I was turned on to him. Yeah.
What's a wet dream for a woman? Because I know sort of for.
Well, women can get wet too, you know. But I'm not saying it's a dream. I was wide awake when I had it.
You were wide awake.
I was wide awake.
Is that
yeah.
is that a wet dream?
But
then,
it
if you're
wasn't
awake?
really. Well, it wasn't.
Are you
sleep,
saying?
But I was wet. I mean, I was wet and I was awake. I was reading his book, his biography.
His biography.
And when I read about him, and I looked at that E equals MC, no, it was just a turn on. I can't really explain.
And you got wet in
Yeah,
that moment.
I literally got wet in the moment.
So you feel like Colin's kind of an Einstein?
Well, even, you know, he's got intelligence. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I wouldn't say he's an Einstein. Einstein is one of them.
Other than, like, strictly physical, I mean, just the way that he holds himself, I think is kind of charming.
But if something real were to happen here, I knew I couldn't force it.
Ethically speaking, I can't ask but if tomorrow during any one of your breaks you want to shoot your shot, I'm not going to stand in your way.
Yeah.
The door is open. Walk on in.
Let the games begin.
Let the games begin.
Colin said he didn't have much of a social life outside of his job, so I thought it might be helpful for him to practice expressing romantic interest to a colleague.
Anything good in any of those magazines?
No, just usual trashy fare.
Yeah, I bet.
But I was most curious to see if the time he had spent with his pack would help Colin form real chemistry once everyone was off the clock.
Alabama?
Yeah, I went to high school about half an hour south of Huntsville.
Oh, okay.
I was going to go to Ireland, and then one of my bartender friends said, "Hey, dummy, Oktoberfest is happening." So
Go
I changed
there.
plans.
Oh
2
my
days
God.
later, I was on the flight to Munich.
And how was that? That
Awesome.
was probably insane.
Yeah, so yeah, I travel places, and my list never gets any shorter.
See, but what do you have on the list, though?
Like, I do eventually want to climb Kilimanjaro. Need to explore more of Europe.
Okay.
Like I said, I need to finish.
I don't mean to disturb you,
No,
but
you're
I
good,
want to just tell you, you remind me of Einstein. You have a certain reserved sexuality about you. Were you really good in school?
Most of the time.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah.
that, yeah.
I'm gonna head back, but yeah, definitely sold.
Yeah.
You gotta go there.
But it was pretty unclear to me if anything came from these conversations.